good chunk of change in the 1800s, okay? So now that the government had the designs, they had to figure out how they were going to pay for the Capitol building. Anyone want to guess real quick how much we paid for our Capitol?
11,000.
11,000, okay.
60,000.
60,000?
27,000.
27,000?
15,000.
15,000? Okay, these are good guesses.
50,000.
50,000? Up here? 11 million? Yeah, okay.
20 million.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all, we actually paid $0. Not a dime. So what had happened is the government actually used Texas's greatest resource. Can anyone guess what that is?
Oil?
Oil's a good guess. It's not oil. Where is oil located?
Cement.
In the ground. Okay. Is Texas big or is it little?
Big.
It's big. Okay. Texas's greatest resource has always been land. Okay. So they use that land. What they did is they told people, if you pay for the construction of our Capitol building, we'll give you 3 million acres of Texas land.
What?
Okay, so a couple of brothers up in Chicago called the Farwell brothers took that deal. Okay, they wanted to do real estate in Texas, meaning they wanted to build houses for people. Okay, but when they got here, they realized that their land was up in the Panhandle. Y'all know what the Panhandle is?
No.
That top square part of Texas.
Oh yes.
Okay, in the 1800s, nothing was up there. Okay, there weren't people to build houses for. So they had to figure out how they were going to make a profit from that land. So they actually turned it into a range. Okay, we called that XIT range. It became the world's largest cattle ranch. At its height, they had over 150,000 head of longhorn cattle. So this is where we get a lot of our Texas culture from. Okay, we see the emergence of American cowboys, a boom in the meat industry. This is why Texans love barbecue so much. Okay, so back to the government. Now they have the designs. They have someone to pay for the building. What's the last thing they have to do?
Make it.
They got to build it, right? So turning our attention over here, they had to decide what they were going to build our Capitol out of. Okay, so the first suggestion was something called Texas limestone. Texas limestone is a really beautiful, strong, and durable stone. It's even what this building is made out of. Okay, but there's an issue with Texas limestone. There's little bits of iron that run throughout the stone. Okay, iron is a type of metal. What happens to metal when you leave it out in the rain?
It get rusty.
It rusts, right? So you can see these little orange bits in here. That's actually rusted iron. So no one wanted a rusty looking Capitol building, so they decided not to use that. Next suggestion was Indiana limestone. That's a really strong, beautiful, durable stone. Okay, and it's even what our national capital is made out of in Washington, D.C. But can anyone guess why the people of Texas didn't want to use Indiana limestone for their Texas state capitol? Yeah, right here.
They probably didn't want it to take too much damage.
Okay, it was actually like a very good stone, yeah.
It's hard to find.
No.
Because it's hard to break.
Yeah, because it ain't from Texas, okay? If we know one thing about Texans, they're very proud to be from Texas, okay? They wanted their state capital to be from Texas as well. Okay, so a couple of farmers up in a little place called Marble Falls contacted the government and they said, hey, we have this stuff called Texas Sunset Red Granite. We have a giant mountain of it. It's in the way of our farming and our crops. We want it gone, so you can have all of it for free, but you have to come pick it up. So the government built a railroad from Austin up to Marble Falls, and they ended up shipping in 15,000 rail cars worth of building material. Okay, so they used this limestone for the inside and the bottom of the building, and they used this granite for the outside of the building. Okay, that's why our Capitol has that pinky orange hue to it. And it took about 7 years of 1,000 people working on the building every day, and they finally finished construction in 1888. So what is the final thing you think that went on top of the Capitol building?
A statue.
The statue. Does anyone know what we call her?
The Statue of Liberty.
Not the Statue of Liberty.
It was right down there.
Yeah?
The statue.
Yeah, do you have a guess? It's okay, I'll just tell y'all. It's the Goddess of Liberty, okay? We call her the Goddess of Liberty. So if you look over here, okay, the first Goddess of Liberty was completed in 1888 along with the Capitol. Okay, she was made out of a material called zinc. Zinc is a type of metal, okay, but similar to the iron and the limestone, zinc doesn't do well with the humidity in Texas. So she stood on top of the building for about 100 years until 1985. when a couple of workers were on top of the building and they noticed she was looking really rough. Okay, if you look at these four corners of the star, you see how they're kind of gold and deteriorated. That's what her whole body looked like. Okay, so they decided they needed to do something about that. So they built a replica. Okay, what is a replica? Yeah.
A replica is the same thing. It's the same thing. It's made out of the same thing, but it's a second part.
So it's like a duplicate, right? But this time they built her out of aluminum, which is another type of metal, but it does a lot better with the Texas environment. So a couple key differences about the two. Okay, the first one that was built, the one made out of zinc, she had to be built into 80 little pieces that were then welded together in 4 sections, that they had a pole on top of the Capitol building with rope and then weld together in one solid piece. Okay, it took a lot of manpower. She weighed 2,000 pounds in total. Okay, the second one that was built out of aluminum, since it was 1985, they were able to build her in one solid piece and then use a military helicopter from the Mississippi Navy, okay, and they just flew her to the top of the Capitol building. So it was a lot easier. Okay, and that one only weighed 1,100 pounds, so almost half as much. They both stand 15 feet and 7 inches. Okay, that's really tall. That's almost from the ceiling or from the floor up to the ceiling of this room. Okay, she's a very tall lady. And the original one is actually located at the Bob Bullock State Museum. Has anyone been?
No.
It's a really cool place. If you ever have the chance to go, you can go see the original goddess. Okay, they were kind enough to allow the Capitol to keep her star. So the reason that we have these 4 corners and they look different than this one is because the goddess loves Texas so much, she refused to let go of the star. We didn't want to hurt her fingers, okay, so we actually cut from the corner instead of cutting from her fingertips. So this corner and her hand is a replica on our end, okay, but we have her original 4 corners, and at the Bob Bullock, they have a replica of the 4 corners and the rest of the original statue. Does that make sense? Yeah.
This worth a lot of money?
It would be worth a lot of money, yes.
How much?
That depends on who's willing to pay. All right, last thing, if y'all want to come over here, you can take a quick look at this up-close picture of the day we put the goddess on the building. Okay, a couple quick things and questions I commonly get that we'll get out of the way. This has a circle because it used to be a cutout, okay, where you could like put your face in it and act like you were the goddess of liberty. We just don't do it anymore for sanitary reasons. That's the only reason there's a circle there. Okay, you can see the sections here that I was talking about, how she was made in little pieces. This would almost be like putting together a Lego set, but you don't super glue it till you get to the top of the building. Does that make sense?
It looks small.
And then yeah, these guys are not this tall, okay? They're standing on bleachers. We'll call this guy about 6 feet. Okay, you can see how tall she is. She's holding a star that symbolizes what? Texas. And she's holding a sword. Why do you think she's holding a sword? What would that symbolize?
Because she's a goddess.
Okay.
To show that it's freedom?
Yeah, freedom, right? Protection, bravery. So she's up there every day protecting Texas.
Does she still have
Okay.
a sword?
She still does have a sword, yep. All right, if we'll come this way, y'all can follow me here.
Yeah,
This is like real crazy. Really like crazy. Look at her holding up. No, I didn't.
Just look through one of the telescopes and look at the same thing.
I'm gonna let you do it at the next Capitol.
Yeah, so take about 2 seconds. When you're done, come stand over here, please. Face me this way. I'm going to be talking about some of this stuff.
Oh my God. Yo, look. You ready? Come on, Pete.
Press over time. I'll start talking while we're looking, okay? So I just will silence, please.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I'm going to ask you guys, who here has heard the term the Republic of Texas? Okay, who can tell me what that means? Yeah. Do you know what it means?
The Republic of Texas, Texas built it a long time ago. So there used to be cowboys there, and I don't remember the rest.
Okay. Yeah.
The Republic of Texas is like we built it a long time ago, and it had like cowboys in that era.
Okay, so the Republic of Texas Okay, so for 9 years, from 1836 to 1845, Texas was its own nation, independent of the United States. So during that time, the government faced a lot of challenges. The biggest challenge was the lack of people that lived in Texas. Okay, to have a country, you had to have people. So what they ended up doing was they relied on that resource we talked about that Texas has lots and lots of. What was that? Land, right? So what they did is they told people, if you move to Texas, we'll give you a lot of land for really cheap. Okay, and it worked. A lot of people came here. So we have 4 main groups of people that lived in the Republic. And the first group are called the Tejanos. This refers to people of Spanish and Mexican descent. Okay, most of them lived here. Most of them lived here when we were a part of Mexico. Okay, then we had Europeans. This refers to people from countries like Germany, France, and England. Okay, they came on ships for weeks and sometimes months at a time. Then we have Anglos. This refers to English-speaking Americans that came over to Texas. And we had African Americans. Something that's really unique about the Republic of Texas is during this time in the United States, African Americans were not allowed to own land. However, in the Republic, many of them came right here to Austin and petitioned to Congress, meaning they asked for special permission with the help of their Anglo friends and neighbors. They were able to own land like everybody else. Okay, on that same note, women were not allowed to own land in the United States at this time. But in the Republic of Texas, women could own land if they were the head of the household, meaning that they had a family, but there was no husband present. Okay, so 2 really unique things about Texas. So there are 2 big determining factors for how much land somebody got from the government when they arrived. Okay, the first thing was how early they got to the Republic. Have y'all ever had like a pizza party or something similar?
Yes.
You know how if you're the first person in line at a pizza party, you have the best opportunity to choose the biggest, best slice of pizza? Land worked the same way. Okay, the earlier you got to the Republic, the better opportunity you had to choose better land. Okay, the second thing was if you had a family, you received more land than if you were by yourself. Okay, that makes sense. You have more people, you need more land. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a really quick activity talking about 4 people. These were all real settlers of Texas. Okay, 1 from each of our groups. I'm going to have you follow me through the hallway so I can introduce them, and then we're going to get through this activity pretty quickly.